able to solve a problem really isn't the same as supporting a problem-solving team. So let's dive in and find out how you can more effectively facilitate others in solving problems, even if you are not the expert. Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel, where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And this video's topic is how to facilitate problem solving, and we'll use the 6-step approach for it. I'll give you a quick overview of the steps, then go into each one and tell you how you can make a real change from your role as facilitator. Now, the 6 steps are that you first form a team, then you make a strong problem definition, you contain the problem by putting some temporary countermeasures in place, then we go into the real root cause analysis, then we put countermeasures in place on those root causes, fixing the problem, and then we check if the problem is really gone, make it sustainable and embedded in our organization. So step 1, forming a team. It seems so obvious that many people ask, why is this a step at all? But I'm telling you, it is important to really officially get your team and your resources together. If you want to have a good shot at solving this problem, you need some specialties in your team, which is an expert on the matter, somebody who's got good experience on the line or the area where the problem is. You need somebody who knows problem solving skills, a facilitator. So there are a couple of roles you really need to get, and especially the specialists and people who are familiar with the line are often already busy, or they might be working in a shift structure, so they're not available each day. And this is why you really need to make sure that you get those resources and you make a planning where you can speak to these people, where you can combine your knowledge to make the analysis work. Depending on your problem, the time can be quite different, right? A problem-solving team can go anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of months. Now, if you've seen some templates for A3 problem solving, you'll notice that most of the analysis steps are on one half of the page, and the whole action and solving, putting the countermeasures in place, is the other half of the page. And they also sort of say it's about the same time. Now, my experience is that it's about the same effort. That is, the first 1/3 of your time you will be analyzing and really defining your problem and root causes, but this takes a lot more effort from each and every member of your team. Then the second 2/3 of the total span of your project, you will be implementing those countermeasures, but usually you do not need everyone in the team to be fully involved in this. This can be a project manager or facilitator's role, for instance. So in practice, this means that you really need your operators, mechanics specialist in the beginning of your team, get the at least short-term commitments on their time, and it's sort of acceptable if you do not have them at every meeting once you start implementing the countermeasures. Now, if you have some colleagues in your team that work in shift patterns so that they're not always available during the day, make sure that you start up your team when they have a number of day shifts in a row so that you can focus your effort and get their knowledge at the start of your project. In step 2, we describe and really define the problem. For this, we usually use the 5 W's and 2 H method, or the how, what, where, when questions. Check my video about problem-solving tools to get a more in-depth explanation of how this method works. But suffice to say, you need to really describe all the aspects of your problem, get the facts up, also describe what you would expect and is not the case, and then get a really precise definition in 1 to 3 sentences of what your problem exactly is. Now, as a facilitator, your main role in problem definition is to really get people to answer factually and to ask the difficult questions, and to make sure that people don't jump to conclusions, but really take an objective view at the problem. And one of the ways you can do this is to have your non-expert team members or yourself ask the stupid questions and make the expert explain the problem and the facts in layman's terms. This also forces the expert to think about the problem again, and this will make your problem definition all the better. When you have consensus within your problem-solving team what the exact problem definition is, it's time to also go back to the problem owner, so the person or meeting who started up your team, and also get an okay from them, because this will be the foundation for the rest of your analysis. And your problem definition should not change after this step. When we have agreement about the problem definition, we move on to step 3, containing the problem. Now, I'm sure you already stopped the big obvious problems and especially any safety risks or quality defects. But now that you have a better understanding of the problem and its causes, you will be more able to put checks and balances in place. This will allow you to stop the problem and not just fish out the bad results. At this stage you are counteracting the direct causes, but we have not solved any root causes yet. So the solutions we put into place now are not the most effective and probably will be too expensive to sustain in the long run. Using expensive countermeasures is okay in step 3 because they will be temporary and we will remove them anyway in step 5, but that is also one of the reasons why it's so important that you do not stop your problem-solving team after step 3. Now, when we made sure that our problem no longer negatively affects our operations, we have the time to go and find the real root causes, because solving the root causes will lead to a sustainable solution that will really improve our organization. Root cause analysis is actually done in 2 steps. First, you want to broaden your scope and make sure you've got all the possible effects in there. Then you pick out the most likely ones and really dig down to get the root cause of those issues. Now, to find all those possible effects, we usually use a fishbone or a 4M diagram, and this is in fact a guided brainstorm. So these are just tools to structure getting all the knowledge from the different experts in the room and making sure that you focus on different areas of influence. The 2 main factors of success in getting this brainstorm to work is to have different people at the table, which you should have already ensured in step 1 when forming the team, and to follow the basic rules for brainstorming. Make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak. There are no wrong answers at this stage, and please don't focus too much on limitations. Really get out the ideas, and you will do this organizing later. Now, a practical way to make this work is to just go round and round your team, and everybody can put one possible cause. Then you go on to the next person. If somebody already has a lot of ideas, he can wait until the next round, because you will continue to go round. If somebody doesn't have any more ideas, he skips his turn. Now, what you will even see is that somebody who didn't have any more ideas the last round may just think up new causes based on the answers of the other members of the team. And this is exactly what you want. Also, make sure that you are writing down the ideas somewhere where everybody can see it. For instance, a flip chart directly on a projector on the table. This will make sure that people get more ideas. And when you have an exhaustive list of all the possible causes, it's time to rank them for most likely, least likely, and to check if they are actually true. So this you also do together with the group, and now is the time to discuss the points and to also put your reservations on the table. Wherever possible, try and judge the likeliness based on facts and first-hand experience. So make sure people go to the shop floor, check in practice, call colleagues, get data, and not only use the knowledge available in your team. When moving on to the real root cause, 5 why analysis, it's important to pick 1 to 3 possible causes. You may have more left, but this 5 why analysis is pretty involved, so you do not want to start it on a lot of different topics. And when you are doing the 5 why analysis, as a facilitator, it's important to guide people in it, because it's not a very natural thing for most people to ask a why question 5 times in a row. Most of us can manage a first or second level cause, but to really dig down deep about the cause of the cause of the cause of your problem, that's not very common. Now, you don't have to be a stickler about exactly 5 times. It can be 4, it can be 6. But when you have only 2 or 3 whys, you're probably not done yet. On the other hand, when your reasoning is 10 levels deep, you're probably overdoing it. Also, try to contain the causes to within your scope of influence. For instance, within your factory. When you see that low quality spare parts are one of the causes of your problem, don't go on to the supplier's factory to solve his quality problem, but instead focus on good entrance control and quality inspection at your plant. During and after the root cause analysis phase, it's also very important to keep your problem owner aligned. And it's not for nothing that after this step you also want an official approval of your root cause analysis, as it will be the basis for the next step, implementing countermeasures. Now, from this step, your problem-solving team will start to look like normal project management, in that you now know your problem, you define which countermeasures are needed, and then the main job is to actually implement it. So to order the correct stuff, put it into place, and get it to work. Important here is that you also take into account the not so obvious things and practical planning. For instance, do you need to stop any lines when installing your countermeasures? Because this will need to be planned in advance. Or when you're training your colleagues, you can be sure that somebody is absent. So you need to have those sweep sessions or some answer how to deal with people who were not present at your original trainings. And such small things as if you need to make a decision in a meeting with a number of key players, actually organizing the meeting and making sure that everybody will be present is an action in and of itself. These countermeasures that we implement are also often called corrective actions and preventive actions, and we put them on an action list. Now, this is a separate action list from the action list that you use to manage your team. So when your company's templates show an action list somewhere on the problem-solving report, it's probably this corrective preventive action list. Make sure that you also keep a normal action list for your team separated from this, and you also don't have to present that every time. This is the inner working of your problem-solving team. And the final thing to do in step 5, after you check that your countermeasures really eliminated the root causes, is to also get rid of those temporary countermeasures that we installed in step 3. They are no longer needed, and keeping them functioning would cause unnecessary expenses. And that's also a waste. Now, the last step is to sustain and embed your countermeasures in the organization. And for this, you have to make sure that those countermeasures become part of the standard way of working. So you make the needed instructions, you train your people, and you institute checklists or KPIs to follow up the results of your actions. Now, one of the important things is to go back to your problem definition and make sure that your countermeasures solved the whole problem. And then when the problem is solved, you have to close the team officially. Far too often, a problem-solving team then becomes sort of a ghost expert team that is called back whenever something similar happens again. But you want the usage of resources within your organization to be a conscious choice. So close the team and make the next problem-solving team a choice of priorities for your organization. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is that as a facilitator, you do not have to be an expert on the problem topic. Your role is to guide the team, give it structure, so that you optimally use the experts who are in the team. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't done so, please also subscribe to my channel. It'll help me grow as well. And for now, I wish you lots of success and creativity in your problem-solving efforts. And as always, enjoy the journey.